start the conversation. What we're doing right now, what many people are doing right now, how we hearing trend, the buzzword men's mental health. Don't just make it about a month. Make it about a lifestyle, right? This conversation should be going on forever. We need to check on the people that we say we love. I think some subtle things we might want to look at is he changing his demeanor, the way he shows up? Is he extra mad? Is he extra quiet? Is he not speaking anymore? Is he laying in the bed all day long? Is he sleeping too much? Is he not sleeping? Are you looking at the changes that are happening amongst you? And sometimes even something like working a lot. If a man is working a lot, like working all the time, could it be that he wished someone would ask him, why are you working so much? It could be he's working so much because he doesn't want to feel what he's feeling. I just think paying attention to the people and the men that are around us. Are you seeing some changes? Because what I noticed that in the work that we do at the J. Holman House is that people say, I don't know what happened. Even me, when my son died from suicide, I said, I don't know what happened. But when I got educated, I did see this, and I did see that, and I did see this. I just didn't have language for it.
And the society today, people are so busy chasing, can I say, the daily bread or chasing wealth. So there is hardly any time that we pay attention to the human being that lives with you or
Oh,
gets
Miss
your
Patricia.
attention. Yeah.
Yes. I'm actually experienced that. My son died from suicide in 2004. He was 18 years old when he died, and I am a nurse, and I worked really hard. And I asked my daughter, I said to her, am I a good mother? And she said, Mommy, we have all the things we need. We have a nice house. We have the clothes. We have the game systems. You cook dinner for us and you don't even know if we eat it. Because what I would do is I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, extremely depressed with my own stuff. Did not even know I was depressed. Didn't even know, until I went to therapy and she told me that, my working was a mask for depression that I was experiencing. Um, if I could do it all over again, I would not work as hard because I worked thinking that I had to take care of my children, and which I do. But guess what? Sometimes when we really think about it, when we're chasing the dollar, it's never enough because
Yeah.
you got $20, right? You're making $20 an hour. Oh my goodness! Now I'm gonna live like I'm making $26 an hour, so now I gotta run and go, make $28 an hour. Oh my goodness! Now I'm living like making $30 an hour. Some of us it's not enough, and children don't remember money; they remember time. Because when I talk to my children about, you remember this, and remember, they're like, no, I don't remember that. And even when your children are growing up, think of this: you can buy an expensive present and put it in a box. Most likely that child is going to play with that box and throw that present to the side, because they're very simple, right? And so
Yeah.
children, we need to make sure that even when we're working, that we are turning off our phones. Devices are a great distraction. To remove electronics from the children, remove electronics from ourselves, and spend time with our family. That we make sure that we pencil in our family on our calendar like we do everything else, and that we set aside time to make memories and to make a space so that we can even know who's living under our roof. Because I'm a prime example that I did not know who lived under my roof. My son was in a gang. I thought he was
Mm.
the worst person ever, but he was not. My son was hurting, but I couldn't see his hurt. All I saw was his disobedience. I didn't know behind that disobedience was hurting. And so when he transitioned at his funeral, he had over 600 youth at his funeral. He has touched so many people's lives. People were telling me stories about somebody that I didn't even know. I'm like, are you talking about my son? I lived under the
Mm.
roof with somebody that I didn't even know. And that can be somebody's story to right now to this day because we're working so hard and rightfully so. You have to work to take care of your children, but why work so hard at the expense of losing your kids?
Yeah, we work so hard and we don't pay attention to the
Hmm.
to the psychology of those we are working hard for. Now,
Exactly.
coming to the marriage institution, here again there is a big issue in this day and age.
The what? The what situation?
Marriage, the
Marriage?
marriage institution.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of issues in the marriage these days, and a lot of them I think emanate from mental health issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, I think one of the first questions that people should do when they get marriage counseling, I think people should be counseled before they get married, is to actually go down and evaluate and be evaluated for their mental health. Because one of the things you need to ask is, why are you even married? Some people get married because they're lonely, right? And they need someone. But that's
Yeah.
needing someone and getting married, it can be because it's a route to abandonment.
Mm.
So why are you even married? So I think for me, I think that people need to really be evaluated mentally before they even consider marriage. But that's something that we don't even talk about. So now you're married and you got someone who's extremely jealous or not committed, or just got things showing up in the marriage, and you're wondering why. And like you said, it's connected to mental illness and mental disease and mental conditions. So yeah, I just think that mental evaluation needs to be done before during counseling. The conversation needs to come, because I think you would find out that a lot of us have roots that are connected to mental illness. And
Mm.
it doesn't mean that you have a diagnosis, because that's another thing we have to think about too. You don't have to have a diagnosis all the time. It's just that sometimes situations just got you not right in your mind for whatever reason. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does. And is it right to say that we hurry up into marriage without knowing one another, without knowing our different values?
I think it's right. I think that's true. I think that's true. Many people do go into marriage without knowing who they're marrying. And I think that people go into marriage without knowing themselves. That's even worse. They don't even know themselves.
Yeah. And then we rush into marriage expecting too much of the spouse, and especially right now, ladies are expecting too much of their men. And with social media, you want your man to provide what you see in social media without knowing whether it's true or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what, too? I think a lot of ladies expect their husbands to make them happy. That is not your spouse's job to make you happy. You should be in your relationship and have joy and happiness, and they should enhance the joy and happiness. But to make someone be responsible for your happiness is a lot. Is a lot. And I hear it all the time. He doesn't make me happy. Well, it's not his job to keep you happy. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't even understand what that even means sometimes. What is it that you need to make you happy? Because guess what? What you may need to make you happy is a fleeting thought, as first of all, because happiness comes and goes. It's a fleeting thought, right? And so we need to learn to have joy in our marriage, regardless if even when things are not going the way you want them to go. Now, disclaimer: I'm not saying stay in no relationship that's abusive, or stay in a relationship where, there's a whole lot of stuff going on that you don't want desire to, to be in. I'm not saying that. But to have unexpected expectations of someone that you can't even provide for yourself. If I don't know how to make myself happy, how do I expect my husband to make me happy? If I don't even know how to do it myself. That doesn't make sense. But a lot of people are in marriages like that. So I just think that as women, we also need to be whole and be mentally sane before we even get married. Because guess what? If you're not, your marriage is not going to sustain. You're going to just keep on going down this spiral and this rabbit hole. And this is why we probably see a lot of divorces today, and a lot of people on their second, third, and fourth marriage because they just trying to get it right, right? They just trying to figure it out and get it right. So I just think that mental health is a big issue that should be discussed before marriage.
Yeah, you talk about making you happy, and a lot of times we think that the created things, the wealth, the big cars, and the trendy life, that is what happiness is. But do we get back to ourselves to know exactly what is being happy?
Exactly. I mean, most people want tangible things. Most of
Yeah.
us want a nice house. We want a nice car. We want good food to eat, good clothes to eat. That's normal human behavior, right? But to make someone give you all those things and there's no love there, what's the sense of that? And at the end of the day, when you die, you can't take that with you. Miss Patricia, have you ever seen a U-Haul truck behind a hearse or a
Mhm.
funeral procession? Absolutely
Mhm.
not. You can't take that stuff with you. But memories, because I know a lot of people who wish they had memories with their loved ones after their loved ones are gone. I would like to see you snuggle up with a car. I would like to see you snuggle up with a house. Some of us don't even know what it's like to hug and kiss and embrace and have conversations with the ones that we love, but we have these big cars and these fancy houses and these dressed up clothes and we have all these things and that we don't have no love.
Is life becoming too artificial?
Exactly, and superficial. And the thing about it too is that this is a thing, a lot of things too. A lot of people are so interested in the wedding and not the marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, big wedding, but we got all that, but not the marriage. When you stand before that altar, some things need to get on that altar. Not just y'all making vows. Your self esteem needs to be correct. Your selfishness needs to be destroyed on that altar. That whole I thing, because it's not an I, it's a we and a us thing. There's a lot of things that need to be burning on that altar when you stand before marriage, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying that people need to be really mentally sane before they get married, and this is one of the reasons why we are seeing a lot of divorces because people are not right in their head. They're not right. Even the scriptures tell us to have a renewed mind. God knew that something was going to go on in our mind.
Mhm. Yeah, and is it then also true to say that we are also not bringing up our girls to into a realistic worldview?
Yes. Yes. Miss Patricia, I gotta. Wow. These young ladies, some of these young ladies I'm seeing today, social media has a lot to do with what we're seeing, right? I'm seeing some of the young girls and young ladies today, they're so violent. They're hitting and they're fighting and they're so violent. Like, what's happening here? What happened to our softness? Doesn't mean that you gotta be like, ooh, 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 like, like that. But what happened to your softness, the core of of who we are? Men got grunt, but sometimes when they come home, they don't want to fight with their wives. They want softness. They want, um, what do you need, babe? And that comes from, the scripture says a wise woman builds a house, right? So you have to have wisdom. And that comes from being surrounded around women who are teaching you what it looks like to be a young girl and how to be a grown woman correctly, because there are some women that have to unlearn some things that other women have taught them because they bring that mess into their marriage and it's not working. So I just think that all across the board, there needs to be some education again, and some wisdom, some sound, wise counsel when it comes time to being children, growing up from children to adolescence, from adolescence to young adulthood, to from young adulthood to adulthood. I think a lot of us need to continue to have mentors and people who have experienced some things, our own life experiences, and just really be in a space where we could seek counseling and therapy and medication if you need, because some people need medication, and God, because I don't think that we can do any of this without God. Period. You know,
Exactly.
so I am a prime example, and I'm a witness that my marriage to my husband is working, and we're still in love and like each other still because of God. Because of God.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In the African setup, long time ago, before a girl got married, they had a lot of time with aunties and probably grandparents, just talking to them about marriage, about what to expect, about how to treat the spouse, and so on. And this is something that has gotten lost along the way. So, how do we replace such a setup in the society today?
Might laugh at me, Miss Patricia, but the old ladies need to sit down and stop competing with the young ladies. You got some old ladies, you old ma'am, sit down. You want to hang out with the young people. You want to dress like your daughter. You want to be hanging out with your daughter friends. You are older now. Sit down. I think the issue is that a lot of times some of our older women don't look like their age. You know, and,
Exactly.
and so we are young acting and young spirited, but you are still an elder, and so you have to act that way and begin to teach. But I think that we have gotten to a society in a space where some of the older women are acting more crazier than the younger women, and they want to do things that the younger women are doing. How are you gonna tell me that I'm supposed to be not promiscuous and supposed to be chased for a husband when mama you got 25 men running in and out your bedroom? How you gonna tell me that? you know, and or you telling me that I'm supposed to dress modestly, but mommy, you got all your tail hanging out. No,
So there is no role model in the society, hardly any role model in the society right now.
yeah, and the ones that are role models, we're like, you just an old lady, you don't know what you're talking about. It's a level of respect that has been lost as well for our elders. Look at how we treat our elders, some of us, right? There was a time that you would never talk back to your grandmother. Never.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you got young people, they're like, what? I would never say what to my mother and I'm 50 something years old.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's a level of respect that has been lost. Elders are not showing up, but young people feel like they don't have to show up and be correct as well.
Mm. And so, at the end of the day, I want you to speak to us about man's mental health.
So I think at the end of the day, like we said earlier, I love that the conversation is being talked about, and I pray that that's not a trend, because sometimes something could be like a buzzword and it's a trend, and then it goes away and we don't hear nothing more about it, right? I pray that we continue to have the conversations, that we continue to heal. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done in our community, and we need to be honest about the healing. A lot of people, a lot of men have been hurt, through family, generational things, through spiritual things, churches and mosques and, synagogues and different places like that. They have been hurt amongst their peers. There's a lot of hurt that has happened too. So I think the healing needs to happen as well, and really unmasking some of the things that have even hurt them, because we don't want to talk about, young boys being molested, right? But it's a thing. I hear a lot of times, young ladies will talk about it, but a young boy to come out and say he's been molested, it might take a little bit more for him to say that. Those things need to be uncovered. Even the whole man up thing. So he might not want a man up. He too. He want to play with a doll. Does it mean that he's gay? That he's gonna like a man because he's dragging a doll around? He's too. So I just think that at the end of the day, the having the conversations and really, really being more educated, about some things, because we're in 2025 now. We're not
Yeah.
in the 60s. We're not in the 50s. We're not back when things were a whole lot different. And
Mm.
were there some things better back in the day? I think they were. But there's some great things now as well. We just have to catch up with the times, really
Yeah.
be more educated about what's going on. Because guess what? Our children are exposed to more. And so
Yeah.
we don't want what they're exposed to be more powerful than what we give them, have
Mm.
more influence on what they give them. And you want to know what's influential to your child? Open up their phone.
Mm.
Is your child calling you, or are they calling someone else? What are they looking at? Go in their room. All their influences are in their room. Sometimes we think that we are the influence on our children, but it's outside entities that are influencing them. So I think that, today in this time, we also have to be aware of what is that thing that is influencing our male children, because that influences them and affects them when they grow up as well.
Yeah.
So men's mental health is like an ongoing thing. It's not just a buzzword. It's not just a trend thing. And it doesn't just start when a man is a man. It starts when he's a boy.
Exactly.
And we don't need to have conversations when he's a man. We need to start having conversations when he's a boy.
Yeah.
You know.
And as we have learned is that even as we talk to men, to the boys, to the men about their mental health, but on the other hand, we should also sensitize the girl child even as they grow
Mm.
regarding general mental health, but also mental health of the future um, spouse, mental health of their brothers, mental health of their fathers,
Yes,
yeah, so that it is a balanced equation. We do not just concentrate on the men per se, yet the society is a combined society. They're growing up
absolutely.
together. They'll end up living together. So how do you treat the man child?
Exactly. But you know what? I'm thinking too, from like I'm watching young people today. If you ever watch young girls and young boys interact today, again, there's a lot of hitting, right? And a lot of harsh words. Where's the etiquette, the
Mm.
kindness? Being kind to your brother, learning how to be kind to your sister, learning how to be kind to your neighbor. Sometimes we see these things happening and we just sit there and let that happen. But if I'm a young girl and I'm constantly scratching up boys and hitting boys and things like that, I'm going to grow up to be a woman to be the same way. Unless
Yeah,
until a man tells me that's not right. And then again, am I going to accept that from him? So there's a whole lot of things that we can really do today. We also have to be conscious about how they interact with each other when they're in spaces. What I noticed too is that a lot of times we do things where girls are in one space and boys are in another. We really don't do
mm,
things where they interact with one another. We need to have
yeah,
programs and things where they can interact with one another because they got to live together in a society.
exactly, exactly. Sure.
Mm.
Yeah, so as we get to the close of this conversation, Is there anything that you think we have not touched that is important in this space?
I just think that we need to affirm our men. One thing I really, really, really believe in is to let men know you're doing a good job. You're doing a great job, and that we appreciate you. We appreciate you. I just really think that we really need to take the time to really affirm them as human beings and affirm them as productive people in our society, affirm them as productive men in our families. Just really affirm them because there's so much going on and so much on a man's back society wise, right? And so sometimes he just needs someone to say, I see you and you're doing a great job. I see you. I think that would make all the difference. I also believe, as we were saying before too, that women have a responsibility as young girls. That we should not just expect men to be all right mentally, and then we're just broken, sitting in the corner somewhere, want him to fix it. No, you have a responsibility to heal and to be a whole woman as well. So again, being educated, not being shameful, not being guilty, feeling guilty for feeling the way you're feeling, having a space where you can say, listen, I'm going through this, I'm experiencing this, I don't really know, this feels weird, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It may be just so that you could have someone to help you navigate what you're feeling, and have a plan for yourself to be even aware of what you're feeling. Because I think a lot of times we be spiraling out, but we don't know the signs that shows that we're having an issue. Like for me, depression sometimes can be a thing that lurks around, right? And how do I know that I'm getting in that space? Is that I start having stuff scattered all over the place. Like my house begins to be scattered all over the place, and that depresses me even the more because I can't get it under control. But when I start to scatter things, I feel like that's a sign to let me know that I'm getting ready to spiral. So even knowing what's getting ready to be an issue for your own self, knowing yourself before anybody can even tell you, I think it's a great thing. But just having those conversations that we can even know what to do. I think a lot of us just don't know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having this conversation. I believe we are still going to have a lot more conversations
I
on
believe so too.
issues on mental health.
Yes, yes.
Now, I want to thank you all, our viewers, for watching this session, and we are praying that you will subscribe so that you encourage us to do more and more of this. Thank you for watching Mental Wellness Insights. Till next time, bye.